Hello and welcome to the Futro Hidden Movie Gems podcast. I'm your host, Ty Spiker Christensen. Jordan Christensen on the pod.
That was so painful listening to
I don't have a quote for this one, but hello.
All right, and we've
I was
got
just going to do
Cameron Mickle
sign
on the
language, you
podcast.
know.
The
but
only
nobody
thing
can
you
see
deserve
that.
to be is dead.
And we've got Grant Mickle on the podcast.
I've got no parents, you. Yeah, because you probably killed them, you nerd.
The old guy. Show some respect to your seniors, yeah?
He's like,
That's the way they
who
talk.
raised you?
Show some respect, yeah?
I've got no parents, you.
They're very, they use a lot of intonations in their voice. It just makes me laugh. Yeah. I'm trying to think how we do that in English.
I
Maybe we
wish
don't.
I could do what she did in customer service. Like, I would never in a million years be able to flip off a customer. I would get fired right away.
Give me my money.
She's just like smiling and she's like,
Yeah, that was weird. I was like, even if they swear, he's like, ma'am, I'm going to ask you to not swear at me anymore. And it's like, oh, yeah, B? You think that's funny, B?
When I was working at Appletide, you know, Kevin got fired for hanging up on somebody because they kept yelling and swearing at him.
dang.
Then Apple let him go. He's like, the customer's always right. His employer's swearing at him, and he's like, hey, please stop. That's so funny. or they cussed at him, and he's like, yeah, you're probably right. You should be let go now. Guys, today we're reviewing Midnight. Midnight.
Yeah, Squid Game.
It's called Good Night. This movie came out in 2021.
It's not called Good Night, it's called Midnight.
It's Good Night. Sleep tight.
Good time.
Let Ha-Joon's bedbugs bite. Most terrifying serial killer since, I don't know, I Saw the Devil, maybe. The director was Oh-Seung, and it was written by Oh-Seung. And it stars Ha-Joon, Park Koon, Ki-Joo Jin, Kim Hee-yoon, Yoon Woo-bae, Mi Woo-choi, Oh-ji Young, Wong Chang-young, Hak Young
It literally sounds like you're making up names. That's the best part about it all.
I did a straight face. You guys started making me laugh. Folks, what is this movie? Let's give a quick recap for the
It's our
listeners.
boy from Squid Games. Are you kidding me?
A serial killer ruthlessly hunts down a deaf woman through the streets of South Korea after she witnessed his brutal crime.
So he's the
was it
brother
like
of Squid Games, right? The cop brother?
I believe that was his character, right?
Okay, because I wasn't 100% sure what he was from Squid Game.
Oh, no, he's the crazy one that makes it to the end, but then he kills himself.
What?
He's the one that it makes it to the very end. He's like his
No,
friend.
he's the one with the brother.
No.
No, he's the
Yeah,
cop
he's
brother.
the brother,
I
Jordan.
thought that, like,
Yep.
he
Oh.
hunts down his brother who's
Poor
in
Jordan.
the game.
He thinks all Koreans look alike. It's all right. It's fine.
Dang
Jordan's
it.
like, he's the main character, right?
He's the protagonist, right?
Oh, no, he's the
Dyes
guy
his hair
that went
pink
to
at the end.
college. The Universidad.
Universidad. Oh, colegio. Guys, let's get into what was like watching this movie for the first time, rewatching it for the podcast. So I saw it last night. I'll start. Just watched it last night, and boy, was this good. I liked this movie. This was an exciting film. So I was along for the ride. I was swept up in it. I was supposed to get some good sleep last night. I was going to be watching it over 2 nights, or I guess I started 2 nights ago. Doesn't matter. Anyway, I'm going to rewatch this one with my wife because it was a really good movie. So I'm excited to watch it again. Jordan, how about you? What was it like watching it for the first time, rewatching it for the pod?
First time, so yeah, after like Squid Games, and I've just been always trying to get that high again.
After Squid Games,
And-
trying to get that high.
And I saw this on iTunes, and I'm super glad that Squid Games got popular because I think iTunes is starting to release more like South Korean films and onto iTunes, which is awesome because there's so many good ones like this one. And
Well, have you seen the junk that's in theaters nowadays?
yeah,
in
I know
America?
exactly. And then, but
This is a call to help. Everybody, foreign films, please send us your movies. We've got a bunch of dung in the theaters right now, and nobody wants to watch this garbage. Please send us your awesome films.
and I saw
Just an SOS.
I saw that it had 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I was like, and so it piqued my interest.
Is it possible?
So I
Like
put
any
it,
anime character, Jordan was like,
His eyes are shimmering.
and I put it on my bucket list. And then as soon as it hit the $10 bin, or when it came out, I was excited, and I was I had a flight coming up because I went to California, and I was like, oh, this is a perfect time. So I downloaded it, and then I watched that, and holy crap. I was like, we're talking about it on the pod. I'm so excited. This reminds me a lot of, like Ty said, I Saw the Devil has like the same intro. You know, I was just waiting almost for the little mirror to have the two little angel wings that light up. And it would have been the same intro. I love this movie, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Very good. Cameron, how about you? Watching it for the first time, rewatching it for the pod?
So watching it for the podcast was my first time, and actually, first time watching it was a horrible experience, not because of the movie, but because midway through the movie, my TV fell off my wall and shattered.
Was that before or after you threw your wife into the wall, Cameron?
Yeah, that's why you never put the TV on that wall, because husband throws wife through the wall, TV comes crashing down. So yeah, that was really frustrating, and I was like just so upset.
Wait, was this your TV in your new apartment?
That I like didn't finish it last night. So yep, and it.
Real quick, are we to assume that you're the one that hung it up on the wall?
Well, no, it was balanced on my media stand, but then it was like it was even leaning back. So I don't know, someone must have bumped the wall, or I don't know what happened, but yeah, it just came crashing down forward. And
was it that big TV that you got fixed?
Yeah,
from Dad?
that Dad was gonna throw away, and then I got fixed. That's a 78-incher. That's like a $3,000 TV that just shattered.
Well, now you're back to a 32-inch
yeah,
monitor, right?
College days. Back to being a poor college student. I tried to pretend that I was.
Dude.
Hey, now you can get a projector, though.
Sucks.
Just saying. Very portable. Fits in a backpack.
That's true.
Just saying, folks.
But
Power Epson Light. We're not sponsored by Epson, but I just thought everyone should know. Power Light Home Cinema 2030. It's a great projector. $700.
And then, but yeah, so then I finished the movie today, and holy cow. Well, actually,
on the different screen?
Yeah, I finished on my laptop.
Sorry, I just find that so sad and funny at the same time. Sorry.
I was distraught last night. I could not finish the movie. Anyway, so then watching it, yeah, it's so crazy. It reminds me a lot of I Saw the Devil meets Wait Until Dark.
And Hush. Did you ever watch Hush, Cameron?
No.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. What are all the other horror, like people with disabilities make like really intriguing characters because they already seem at a disadvantage. Not that I'm saying differently abled people or whatever the PC term is today.
Being deaf is the worst thing ever. Like,
yeah, it puts you at a disadvantage from the killer, and I like it. Like already the odds are against any woman going up against a man in a battle of physical fight, but like this one just adds another layer, which I love, and we'll get into the ending, which I loved.
But yeah, super enjoyed it. Jordan knows. I mean, as all you know, I love serial killers, and he is an amazing serial killer. Oh my gosh, dude! From his acting, like in the police station, everything. I'll just get into it later. But
the police station, it's the best scene in the world.
So good, yeah.
Good. And we've got
Ty, this
Grant.
is literally Chaser. I can't believe you didn't like Chaser more. Like, this reminds me so much of that.
The Chaser. The Chaser was good. Again, I just think this one was
Korean.
I think The Chaser was like 2 hours and 15 minutes long.
A bit too long.
They should have kept it to about an hour 30, hour 45.
Okay.
Like this movie.
I do agree that one was a
this
bit long.
movie's 2
Yeah.
hours.
It does carry on, and to be fair, The Chaser does have a few more emotional moments that got me the feels more than this movie. But this movie still had two great scenes, one with the mother and one with the daughter. So well acted, well done, everybody.
Well, and I love the dynamic between the brother and the sister. Oh my gosh. I like how his officer friend is always like, your relationship's kind of weird. Like, what are you trying to say?
Yeah, he very much comes up as a fatherly type, but I guess he might be an older sibling, but looking after his daughter. See, I got me saying it after his younger sister. So
well, it's understandable because their parents were to assume they passed away. So he kind of tried to take on that father role because his parents are gone.
That's
so
right.
She's his responsibility, and I feel like especially in other cultures, you're way more responsible for your family.
Yeah, that's true.
And they tell us so much in such a short time.
Here in America, if you win the lottery, see you later, family. You don't ever see those folks again. But if you're like any other race or culture, if you win the lottery, your whole family's rich. Here in America, if you win the lottery, you're rich. That's it.
It's true.
It's funny how that works. But, Grant, what was your reaction to watching this?
I loved this. Personally, it was a very great breath of fresh air after watching things like Obi-Wan Kenobi and just
Oh my gosh.
Cringy acting.
Don't worry about it. Consume product.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Or what was
Consume
the
more
one we all
product.
watched on Sunday?
Oh, yes. Lost City. Yeah.
Lost City.
Solid-
Oh, is that the one with
solid 2 out of
Channing
10.
Tatum and Sandra
So
Bullock?
bad.
Yeah.
So bad.
That was the worst
Dude,
movie.
I didn't even need to see it to tell you it was
Yeah,
bad.
that
I
was.
know.
Jurassic World, Lost Kingdom, Dominion.
I trusted Tyler. Tyler's like, you have to see it, so good.
Tyler's got a very strange taste in movies.
Yes.
So it was just
My
a very
goodness,
great
folks.
breath of fresh air for sure.
Yeah,
Very
it might
good.
it might make
So,
it into
what
my
was-
top 100. I don't know. Dangerous. It's borderline.
Yeah. That's good. It's not good.
Right after seasons 1, 2, and 3 of The Walking Dead. Yeah. All right, folks, let's get into 2 of our favorite things. Grant, hit us up. What are your 2 favorite things from this film?
I think my number 1 favorite thing is the twist at the end with her stabbing herself because nothing else was working to convince the people in the public that she was the one being attacked.
That was great.
Man.
Yeah, the whole scene, the serial killer has like a neck wound, a puncture in the neck wound, and everyone's like, oh, is this crazy like stabbed this guy? Everyone was taking his side.
I know,
his side, which I thought was great. I loved that. See, not enough, and that was so well done, where it did feel like a modern day Wait Until Dark, where someone's at a disadvantage and she can't explain herself out of this one. So it was like playing charades with a bunch of people,
Yeah.
and she's holding the knife in self-defense, like, get this guy away from me, and everyone takes his side because he's injured. He puts
Right.
on those puppy dog eyes, like, oh, this is my sister, and she's crazy, and she can't defend herself. Oh, it was so
He's an
good. She
amazing
can't
actor.
explain.
I love when he like changes suits and then he like changes his hair and he even fools the girl he was chasing.
Yeah, he changed his whole demeanor and just like, he's so good at it.
Granted, he
It's
was wearing a
scary.
mask and a baseball cap, so it's not like
true.
she was fooled by any other Korean. Like, she doesn't think that look alike. But
Okay, for a
But yes, I
while
get what
I
you're
was
saying.
like, wait,
Yes,
is
he-
that the
he-
same person? I'm like, or is that just like his twin or something? I'm like, because for a second I thought they were gonna go to the plot twist. Of
I know,
he had
he
an
fooled
evil
me.
twin. I was like,
Yeah. I was seriously like, is this a different guy?
dude, yeah.
what? You guys felt... I knew it was him. How dare you guys felt? He had all those coat jackets hanging up in his car. I didn't know it would be like literally a suit that he would be donning that minute, but I knew it was him. That's so funny you guys were fooled. I was like,
Well, the
that's
only
him.
thing that I was like, oh, he was taking his shirt off in the van. I was like, okay, that makes sense. He was changing. But for a second, I was like, who is this guy? Like,
Who is this guy?
Well, he puts on a
I
whole
love
different
that.
demeanor. He acts
Yeah.
all
He
more
does.
professional.
He does a very good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's frantically running after her, and then he like puts on a suit. Oh, I'm just worried about my sister. Where is she?
well, so
Very
and along
good.
with the twist, I loved how like she smiled at him, and that to him was worse than anything else because he was bested by someone he felt he could do anything he wanted to.
Yeah, this was just like what Mom was saying on our last podcast, which is something there've been a lot of thought about, where she said every woman's base fear is that men will kill them, and men's worst fear is that they're going to be laughed at. And I was like, that's literally what happens in this movie. She's terrified he's going to kill her, and she laughs at him at the end when she's down, and he's like shot already once, and he looks at her, and she's just like, what? What? What are you going to do about it? And he's like, ah! He like runs at her and gets shot at like 18 more times by the cops. That was great.
So
Loved it.
And then my second favorite thing was probably just like the mind games of like you think that she's safe. You're like, oh, the brother showed up. Like finally, like he can beat up this guy now, and she can finally
Bro,
be
I
saved.
knew that guy wasn't passed out. He should have double tapped him so hard. Oh my gosh.
I know for real, dude. Like
You
every time
curved
Yeah,
off
there
his
was one of
brain
those.
into
okay.
oblivion, bro.
Yeah, there was one of those, but I did like how the
real.
other one was a moral thing where he was like,
Yes,
tell me
like,
where the
it's either
sister
her or
is.
your sister.
I either get this girl
And he's like,
or your
I'm
sister." I
sorry.
like
You're
that.
like, no.
Yeah, you're like, what? He's like, okay, I'm
Okay,
gonna go
but
get
I
my
had-
sister.
yeah,
And
I had-
you're like,
I had a
just
nitpick
leave
for
this
that
girl
scene.
with the serial killer.
Man.
Because
I'm sure there's a nitpick.
well, the moment he sent the location, he should have just attacked him. Because like, oh, what's like he already sent you the location. So, which was the only thing that he had the bargaining for not beating him up. He's like, I'll kill you without sending your sister's location.
Yeah, and the fact that he would anticipate them being there when he got back, right? It's like, this is, you realize, like,
Well,
he
no,
could
I
have
thought-
lied
I
to you,
thought
and
that
you
he-
will never see him again.
I thought that he told him, he's like, go to that place, and in 5 or 10 minutes, I'll call you and tell you.
That's what I heard too.
Yeah.
And then he calls him. He's like, "Where is she?" And,
And
the
then-
house
and he's
did
like, "Have a fun
an
reunion with
axe
her
through the
mom."
door. Very reminiscent of The Shining, by
Oh,
the
yeah.
way, too.
I thought that
was
as well.
great.
Yeah.
It wasn't overdone, but there, like the shot of him cutting the door was very effective.
Yes, I totally thought of that. Yeah.
Very much The Shining. And again, I think he said, like, it's your mother or something really creepy.
Yeah.
Like, he was pretending, again, when he was texting her with the mother's phone, I thought that was an amazing moment. Very great moment, because all she had was texting, and then all of a sudden he's right there at the door.
Bro, I when she said the door's open, I'm like, she ain't responding that fast. It's bet you that psychopath, bro. I'm like, don't open that door, bro. Sorry, Mom. You got to fend for yourself,
great.
Bro.
Yeah.
Yes.
I also don't understand why the deaf girl had to go. That's a nitpick later, but she had to, like, go up to the door, and I'm like, do you not think he's still at the door? Like,
I know. I was afraid she was
going
going to get an axe in the head. I was like,
yeah.
way too close.
She, like, puts her, like, I'm like, are you going to hear? I guess she would hoping to feel, like, I don't know, vibration from the door or something.
I was waiting for the cliche, like, axe right next to her face, and then her going, ah.
Yeah, terrifying. So
just those mind games made it
keep going.
an amazing suspense movie.
Yeah.
It reminded me of Death Note, kind of just like not wanting to be bested, like, well, especially the twist part, just like Light feeling defeated at the end, like, even after all the things that he set in place to, like, you know, win in the end, it didn't end up working out, you know. So.
Whoa, spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler for Death Note, which I have not seen. I've watched twice. I tried to watch it all the way through. I watched the first 22 episodes, and then it's
as soon as Elle dies, it's like it's
bigger
hard.
spoiler.
It's hard to push
the
through.
most important
trust
spoiler,
me.
because it's that spoiler right there that causes me to stop watching the show both times. I've tried to
It's
watch
hard.
it.
I got a little
like,
bit beyond that. I couldn't get to the
Near,
end.
he tries
I
too
think I
hard
got
to be
like 1 or 2
Elle.
episodes beyond
He
that.
tries too hard to be Elle, yeah.
Yeah, N? No. Ugh.
Yeah, and right after Elemental P, it's terrible. So, Cameron, what about you, man? What are your 2 favorite things from this
Okay,
movie?
first favorite thing is just the intelligence of the serial killer. Dude, he is so good, and he's so prepared, where, he's so good on the fly, which is so impressive and such a necessary skill of a serial killer. Because, like, if you're caught in those situations, because most serial killers who are, like, amateurs would, like, try to kill those police or, like, try to act out. But he
Unlike me.
He always
He
always plays.
if I had been doing it, I would have.
Well, he always plays, like, anytime he's being attacked, he plays the innocent, like, victim, and a scared victim will always be seen as, like, innocent. Like, if you're scared and afraid, you will always be seen as the non-aggressor. And so that's why he's so intelligent. Like, he's just like, oh, please help me, and running to them.
Jordan, does Cameron remind you of Dennis at all in the episode?
Yeah.
Do you remember the episode Mac is a serial killer, Jordan, in Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where they think Mac is killing someone, but he's dating a person behind the gang's back, and he doesn't want them to find out. And they think Mac is killing people, and so Dennis and Dee Reynolds are following him, and they're like, if I was a serial killer, yeah, this is what I do. I'd follow her home, and then I'd chop her up into bits. And Dennis is getting, like, really excited about all this. It's so creepy, and he's like, yeah, but we're not really going to kill him. He's like, oh, yeah, of course not. Oh, yeah. Oh, he's, like, super pumped out. He's not going to go. Anyway, it just made me think of that, Cameron, as you, like, shout praises about the serial killer. It just made me laugh. Anyway, keep going.
I just think it's so interesting, especially because, like, that's the smartest thing to do, is because then it, like, and it's such a good, and then it kind of leads into my second favorite thing, is I love the conflict, because usually in serial killer movies I'm just like, just get somebody and just say, help me, this dude's trying to kill me, because I'm like, if you say it enough times, you're gonna get at least a few people to be like, what the fudge is going on? And it's usually always a guy chasing after a girl, and so that's why I love that.
And Cameron still, by the end of the movie, he's like, why didn't she ever tell anyone that she was being chased by the killer?
That's what I loved, is that the fact that it's got to be so hard, like,
This deaf mute, Cameron.
and I thought it was so interesting how, like, she was trying to communicate to people, and it's just like, even when she got a crowd, then he just, like, again, with my first favorite thing, he's like, oh, it's my sister, because then everyone's like, oh, this nice brother's trying to take care of his sister who stabbed him, and she's crazy, and you're like, this trying to kill her, chop her into bits, and I don't know what he's trying to do, but get her away from him. So I just thought it made the tension so much better, because that's like an understandable frustration, instead of the people that are just like, because, like, there were some moments though that, like you guys were talking about, just putting your head closer to the door, and that's the thing too, is like, he's chopping through the door and she's just sitting there watching him chop through. I'm like, madam, jump or leave or kick something, not just, oh my gosh, you're doing such a good job chopping that door down. I'm like, big, get out of there, run.
Observer bias, yes, she's probably petrified, dude.
That's right. Yeah, Karen's like, get over that
It's
shot.
better than being. It's
stupid.
better.
Get running.
It's
gonna
better than
kill
being
you.
hung from the window by your hair. Oh my gosh, bro! Dude, and she should have started digging her nails into his hand, or started trying to gnaw on his hand, bro.
She should have karate chopped it. Just like slapped it right at him. All right. Jordan, what about you, man? What are your two favorite things from this film?
Two favorite, the scene that was already mentioned in the police station. For some reason, the suspense is at like an all-time high. And
oh, man. That reminded me of Rear Window. Very Alfred Hitchcock.
It's just...
At least that's how I felt.
It's so good. Like, I was just like, oh my gosh, are they going to figure it out? Are they going to, like, tell somebody? Like, tell the police? Like, because I just, it's like, it's so good. Like, it goes along with Cameron
Inept
saying...
police officers is like a cliche, but I like this one because everything that they were given, they were trying to work with it, but I do like how it was like right under their noses, like a great scene in that police precinct is just when he takes the form and he's reading her address. It's so terrifying because he like now knows where she lives. He's getting all this information from her, and the mom's trying to sign to her like
address.
I'm kind of.
That's nuts.
Yes, he was looking at the police report that she had filed with the police officer and was looking at it, and he was getting her address down. And the mom was like, "Hey, he's weird. Like something's up with him." And then there's that great scene where he slams his hand down on top of her hand, and she's about to sign to her.
Intense.
And he looks at her. He goes, "Do you want your daughter to die?" He just melts
like
it to
keeps
her.
like squishing her hand, just like
he's squeezing her hand so she can't sign to him. It's a great scene. I absolutely love that scene.
Yeah.
It's absolutely
amazing.
wonderful.
Like that elevated this movie to a whole new level. And then
it also reminded me of Memories of Murder, of kind of the bad cops like not doing good at their job and just beating up the wrong person. You're just like, come here.
I know when they tased that dude, I was like, what did you just do?
Dude, I thought he was gonna grab the knife and just start stabbing him, and then the cops too. I was like, oh my gosh, no.
Yeah.
But he was even playing chess.
No, man, the serial killer realized he had all the cops on his side, even the military. They're gonna bring back this victim.
Here you go.
Over her shoulder, here, drop her at his feet. Like, here you go. Here's your wench that you ordered.
Lamb to the slaughter.
Oh my gosh, that was insane. I know. She's like, this is not going well. Like the military just dropped me at the serial killer's feet. Like scooped me up off the sidewalk.
We also mentioned her disability. Like, I love a good horror movie that like really uses that. And there's so many times when, she can't hear anything. And so she doesn't know that like opening a squeaky loud door is making a ton of noise.
Dude.
And so it's just like so stressful, especially because he's like coming and he's almost having fun with it. And
oh yeah, he's toying with her, especially in her house. Oh my god!
Yeah, when she gets in the car. Remember when she gets in the car and then he just starts laughing in the back? Yeah. Oh man, that was so nuts.
You just see the bar going up. Yeah. Same thing with the
he just likes playing
like
with
the cat clapping the cymbals, letting her know that like because and then she looks at the monitor and it's off, and he's just like, you stupid idiot, you pathetic bee. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, you sicko, dude. I'm like,
Cameron's like, just be professional about this. Don't toy with her so much. Yeah. It was very upsetting. Like for me, the serial killer did a really good job in this film at being a formidable foe, but being very intelligent and sneaking through. It wasn't like such ineptitude from the cops, but he was like a very clever killer, which I like. I like that trope more. I mean, it's not a trope really. I just like that element to this movie more, and it elevates it because it kind of upsets me when it's like, oh, the reason this killer is getting away or the monster keeps killing people and victims and the cops, because the cops are so inept at their job.
Like Stranger Things.
They never have their gun drawn. They never had this. But this one was really well done because they're in the police precinct. They believe the harm is already done. They're out of harm's way. The serial killer is there pretending to be a victim or a family member of the victim, which is really well done. I absolutely loved it. And then the fight scenes were really well choreographed. They were like brawling in this police precinct, throwing him on top of tables. Like it looked really cool. The way they stylized fighting, my goodness, our American shows could learn a thing or two because we do so many quick cuts. I know your brain's supposed to make the connection, but it doesn't. All it does is give me Tourette's and more spasms throughout the night. Like the epilepsy. I'm getting it all. I mean, I'm shaking and
you're swearing.
It's just so bad. And now I'm overweight because all I'm doing is sitting and watching films all the time that are useless. But this, I could really digest this movie. My goodness. It was lovely. So yeah, I love that. And then I feel like there were clear homages to other serial killer films and horror movies. Like I mentioned The Shining, even Wait Until Dark and Hush. These are other movies with the heroine is dealing with a disability, and she overcomes not only her disability, but also a serial killer and outwits very smart serial killers. That's what I loved about Wait Until Dark. Yeah, you had two cronies that were really dumb, and then Mr. What was his name?
Long Jump.
You know, Susie. What's his name? It's playing the Alan Arkin. What's his name though? Long Jump. Mr.
He's Sonic,
Sideways
dude.
trampoline jump. Yeah.
He has that little spring. Boing.
Just
Get that 18-foot jump.
flies across the hall, leaps across the entire apartment. No, but I absolutely love that because I love seeing a killer that's so formidable and intelligent and outwits the cops, not just due to the ineptitude of the cops. Well done, movie. Well done. Excellent. So
She was
any
driving a
nitpicks?
car. I was like, I didn't know they could drive. That's amazing.
Yeah, I know it was allowed.
You mean Asian women, or are you talking about a disabled person?
But I didn't know deaf people were allowed to drive cars. I thought that was like not allowed.
That was a great scene too, where the mother's running toward her and she's like, "Whoa, slow down! There's a moped biker like right on the sidewalk," and she almost gets hit by it. I thought that was a really good way at establishing the stakes that they have. Like this wasn't like the
Yes.
serial killer. This was just a random pedestrian, and their lives are endangered in other ways that we take for granted. So I thought that was really good
a good point.
at establishing their disability and the dangers and stuff that they deal with. Like they were almost killed by this guy. Imagine a guy that was intentionally trying to kill them and stalk them. So
Can we just address the fact that she was stopping cars in the middle of the road and she's like laying down and people are just like, "What the fudge is this lady doing?" I'm like, somebody realize
like, get out of the way.
Guy is, and they're like almost running her over. She's like
chasing the
duck,
girl,
dodge.
and they're just like, well,
chaser.
Yeah, duck,
Well, I have a
dodge,
question.
dive,
If you were
dip,
driving in
dodge.
somewhat traffic or not traffic, would you get out of your car if you saw two people running by? I mean, like, I don't know. What would you think, right? You'd be
That's
like,
true.
I mean, if she was
If she's
clearly
holding a
distraught
knife
and banging on the
and
cars
telling
and
you
everything.
like stop, I would probably be like, "What?"
Well, I'd probably speed up and be like, ah!
Yeah, Cameron, she's not telling anyone anything because she's deaf.
Yeah, and she's doing that.
Yeah, she's just going,
she
ah,
can't.
with the
Yeah.
knife.
She's just swinging a knife around, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, it's a crazy." Lock your doors.
Especially in the
Don't let
city,
her
you
in
see a
here.
lot of crazy people. So.
I probably would have just run her over.
yeah.
Yeah. You're like, huh, she hurt that guy. Just
Yeah.
spin her with your car, run over, double tap, back over her too, slowly. Nitpicks. Can you hold someone up by their hair with the roots rip out of their head? No.
Yeah, there's
I'm not
no
sure if
chance.
they could. I guess Korean women are really light, and I guess he could be able to hold her, but that just doesn't. She jumps out the window and he grabs her by her hair and then like holds her. Do you think? I guess you could be
yeah,
suspended
are you
with your
kidding
hair.
me?
Okay, I also
If you
I
get enough, if you only grabbed like a single
yeah,
hair.
if you grab like a couple, like it'll
Grabbed her
rip.
hair.
or it'd be like a curly.
I also thought it was funny
Yeah, maybe
how
the three stitches are just constantly pulling hair
how
out.
his genius
Yeah, come
idea after
on.
she landed on the ground was to chuck the
love it.
axe. I was like, but just chuck it like head down. I was like, what were you planning to do with that?
I know, and then she didn't grab it. She just starts running. I was like, she should have taken that axe.
Yes. Yeah, every once in a while there's the time where the victim doesn't double tap while they're down or they turn their back.
Or
He turned his
whatever it
back a
is.
lot because he was very confident that she couldn't do anything to him. That was pretty nuts. Like when he like washes his face in that bucket of water. Like I thought of that. I was just like he's just so confident that he has all of this under control.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary.
One thing I think that it's not a nitpick. I do remember thinking I really liked the foot chases. My only nitpick is maybe cut out one of them, which sounds bad at saying it now. But I liked how effective it was. I really like the foot. I don't think we do this enough in movies today. I love running.
This dude would give Tom Cruise a run for his money.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, put Tommy Boy, running. Tommy Boy. I was thinking of Tom Cruise. They called him Tommy Boy. Chris Farley. Yeah, get Chris Farley running through there, dude. It'd be even weirder now that he's dead. I just mean like,
Oh my gosh.
the on foot chase. I can't stress this enough. It is so good. I think it's so effective. Like, there's nothing more manic than like sprinting for your life.
Yeah.
And the way he was sprinting after her, it just like
know.
added so much more intensity that you don't get in a lot of other films. Like it's probably
You son of a
hard to
bee.
get actors.
Stop right there. Wait. He said that to him like 6 times and
I
tried
know
to chase
that-
him down.
Yeah, the brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, and again, like the foot chasing, I just thought that was really exciting.
And also, I felt like I was glad that it was realistic because, like, obviously the serial killer's in way better shape than the chubbier brother. And so the fact that the chubbier brother had to try to take, like, shortcuts.
You think he was chubby?
I mean, he was bulky, dude.
He's the military, dude.
He's
He was
freaking
cut.
military, bro. Yeah, he's freaking.
Okay, but still, he's like 200. He's like 200 something pounds, and other guys like 160 pounds. Like, he's definitely going to be able to outrun him.
Maybe.
I was dude.
Yes, I would put youth. I would say he's probably got
the
a few
petite
younger
girl,
years,
dude.
so.
I was impressed with her endurance, bro. But I mean, when you get that fight or flight, that'll help with that adrenaline. It'll just get you going.
For sure.
Yeah, dude. I just full on sprinting. I don't see
Well,
that enough in
and, like,
movies. Is my point.
Just
and they should do
thinking
more.
about it, like
it's effective.
being deaf and running for your life, like you can't hear if he's catching up to you. So you're constantly having to look back, and if you look back and you don't see him, like what do? Like,
Right.
I thought that was a great aspect.
Well, you don't
Just
know if you're going to
thinking
turn a
about
corner and slam into somebody or something.
right? Well, and she almost got hit by that car that one time. She was like running straight for a road and then like barely stopped at the end, and then just car zooms by. Like you said, all those things we take for granted about being able to hear and just all the
spatial
dangers around
awareness
her.
it's so much more manic when you can't. You only hear that ringing and you're just sprinting and you're like, I know he's after me. He's somewhere out there behind me. I just got to keep running.
Especially in a city, because there's so many things in a city that like your hearing is so important for. But dude, I wanted to give a shout out to, I don't know if that's real, like Korea's like buttons that you press that's like, I'm in danger. That's sick, dude. And then it's like the police are like, what can we help you with?
They have those in Wisconsin.
College campuses, yeah. When college kids get a little...
Nick hit one of those buttons, and he was like, what does this button do? Is this one of those, like, information stands?
And they're like, I'm sorry, sir, were you... He's like, no, I wasn't. Like, yes, I'm so sorry, we're going to send a... And he's like, no, I'm fine, I wasn't. And we're going to be getting a full police report. Don't worry. It's like, no, please. Oh, poor Nick. Yeah, they're, like, really good at... they have those on campuses where, college kids get a little... So... It's good.
But I don't know how much they help because people just push them,
They're like, well, stay there unless they're with you, then keep running. But we're going to go to that location last and keep running.
Because I feel like by the time the police show up, if they did show up,
that's why they need a robot that like shoots or something.
That's the one thing I didn't get was the cameras, watching him. Yeah, the one thing I would say is today, like if you have witnesses that witness a murder or a crime, they try to get statements, they try to get ID and names because it's like, okay, we might have to corroborate this later. But if you have like a the serial killer, he's always pretending to be a family member of the victims. I'm almost like, take his name down, figure out whether or not he's real because he's enjoying this. He's like going back to the police being like, oh, look at what a terrible thing happened to my sister, my cousin, whatever it was. You're like, he's the one killing them. Like, take his statement, get his ID, figure out who the serial killer is. It was crazy. That happened a few times.
The only thing I don't know if I'd call it a nitpick, just a question. Do you think he would have trusted the serial killer to tell him where his sister was? I feel like I would have just beat the shiz out of him because I just feel like
I would have been like, she's probably already dead. Like,
or he's gonna lie.
Absolutely, I would have just choked the ish out of him and then just curb stomped his head because there's no chance you're getting any info.
Yeah, until he's like, and the last breath, his last breath.
Yeah, because this is what he's gonna say. Haha, she's bleeding out in the alley, and you're like, well, she's probably dead now. Like,
try to somehow subdue him, and then get
make him take you there. Right. Like, you're gonna take me there, otherwise I'm gonna destroy you.
No, you just stab him. You stab him in both hips, and then you say you're gonna bleed out by then, and so you drag him along, and you say, if you try to run, I'm gonna slice your Achilles.
Cameron, I'm not sure what's more menacing and terrifying, your treatment of serial killers or the serial killers themselves.
Well, the thing is, I like that there was the weight of the guy was threatening to kill himself, like in the information of where his sister is with him.
That was interesting.
And that's why I like the weight of that whole situation. He's just like, okay, I won't touch you, but tell me where it is.
You kind of got a feeling that this guy is manic and different than some of the other serial killers you get. I like that. I did like that. He's like, I'll stab myself right now. You're never going to find your sister. I thought that was interesting. Different. It subverted my expectations. It was great.
I just watched a video. They have footage, like in certain countries, like they still have like the death penalty. And for a while they were using a guillotine, like even when people could still film. But they stopped because the crowd, after like witnessing a serial killer get his head chopped off, went so nuts. Like this crowd, people were running up and like taking his blood and like keeping it as a souvenir. And so they like did away with public executions in France after that.
Dude.
So if you think people are bloodthirsty and crazy like Cameron, they are.
Dude, they are, dude. I mean, imagine back in the day when they used to hang people, that was like the most entertainment most of these people had their entire lives. They'd be like, oh, thank goodness we caught this outlaw. Now I can watch him hang because, my goodness, the TV's not going to be invented for another 80 years.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy, dude. That's what they did for entertainment.
I'm surprised Kevin hasn't brought up Inglourious when he's like, this is about the closest we get to TV. And he like brings out the bat.
We got a Nazi who wants to die for country. Oblige him.
Oblige him.
Because Cameron, I was editing those last couple episodes, and you mentioned that movie, I swear, like every single episode, at least once. It's great.
It's because it's a masterpiece.
I liked how perceived victimhood is the one who is most injured, which I thought was interesting. Again, to the naked eye, you look at this, there's a crazy woman wielding a knife, or it's a terrified, mute woman holding a knife, fending off a serial killer. It's very interesting how, just at first glance, you could not know that. And I thought that was well done. So it was a great scene, this movie really made me want to believe all women, but it made me think, have you heard of Amber Heard?
Nice time.
I know Johnny Depp's cleaners definitely don't trust all women. Okay, that was a poop joke. Okay, folks.
Oh my gosh.
She pooped the bed.
Wait.
I
have
Amber
a few
Heard pooping
things.
Johnny Depp's bed.
I have a few things I want to say real quick.
About the movie?
Yeah. I loved, oh, frick. I just lost it.
Nice. Grant has such a way
Last
with
movie it
words.
reminded me of was Red Eye. I also wrote that one down. Kind of had that similar
That's a good one. Yeah.
serial killer chasing down Rachel McAdams, killing Murphy. Yeah, it was very good, Grant.
Okay, I love the shot when the guy has the axe in the house and he's dragging it, and just like the sound of it dragging across the floor, and he's like humming, and it's showing like family photos. Like that was such an eerie like moment. I love that shot.
I love that he abused the fact that she couldn't hear as well.
Making her beg, it made me. I hated the serial killer so much when he was like forcing her to beg for her life. That was just so
that was a crazy.
bad. Like,
That was the other scene I was thinking of.
And she was speaking as best she could.
And just talking
She's
about,
like,
she's like, I
"Please,
want to
let me
live.
go.
I want to
I
get
wanna
married, have
live."
2 kids. Like, I want to go places with my mom. Just like that was such a sweet moment. And then he's just like, you're making me
Yeah,
like.
none of that's gonna happen.
I know. It just shows how heartless he was.
Yeah, it was really good. So, you guys have any other nitpicks, quotes, or anything you wanted to throw out? Perfect.
Great
Would you
movie.
recommend this film?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, this is actually more accessible than most of the foreign film Korean serial killer movies we watch. It's very tame as far as serial killing
that's
goes.
why
There is a little bit of blood, but
part
it's,
of-
Well,
I
and
would
there's
say
a few
it's
F words though,
TV-14.
so I think it would be rated R technically.
Yeah, but it's Korean, so I guess you could read it. Just take off the subtitles, and then you're like, I don't know what anyone's saying, but I certainly won't be exposed to language.
Yeah, so that's why I almost want to put this in front
Yeah, I
of
mean,
I,
I don't
Saw
know.
the Devil,
I guess I'm used to reading Stephen King
because
books,
I
so,
think
you know.
I think this movie isn't as good as I Saw the
Everybody,
Devil, but
check
it's
out this movie.
definitely
It's good.
like an easier watch.
All right, folks, we want to share what we've seen lately and what we're looking forward to seeing. Grant, start us off.
Oh.
Can we talk about Ben Kenobi here? Jordan Cameron, I don't care to spoil
not
it.
gonna
You have
watch
to
it,
watch
so-
it. Please watch it.
No.
It is so bad, it's funny.
Yeah,
it is that
cringy.
bad. It is
It's
bad
cringy,
that
for
it's
sure.
good. I think so. Reba, Moses Ingram, bless her heart. Everyone's coming after her. Disney's like, well, that's because Star Wars fans are racist. And it's like, oh, well, I understand your point is that she's black and she's a really dumb character, but like, don't bring her race into this. I have no problem with
Yeah, I
Moses
have nothing
Ingram
wrong with
being
that.
black.
Her acting though.
I have a
is,
problem
okay,
with her character.
Her character, so her
Laughably
writing, the
bad.
writing of her character and her acting together, garbage.
And her trying to be cool with all the parkour, like clearly on a wire, like she's running
Oh, I
through the
know,
city
yeah.
and stuff. It looks so cheesy. I'm like, oh,
It
cool.
looks
You did all
really
these
bad.
stunts
Oh
on the
no,
wire.
is it another
Like,
Rose all over again?
it's like
It's
as
worse.
bad as Rose.
Worse.
She's not as. She is as manic and kill. Like it's
Well,
just so strange.
the lines are
because
so
there's
forced
nothing,
too. She's just like, "Go find him now!" Like she just like tries to act assertive and stuff. It's
She
just
gets like
so
she gets
cringy.
like stumped by Princess Leia, a 10-year-old girl.
Yeah.
She's like,
no, that's my
Oh.
favorite part is when she's trying to run away. All the adults trying to catch her. They have like short arms.
Oh,
They're
dude.
like, I missed.
No, yeah. There is a tree
It's
that is
so
arching,
bad.
and Princess Leia runs underneath the tree, and this lady makes no effort to sidestep the tree or to duck under the branch. She just runs into it.
I know.
It makes no sense. I mean, I'm sorry, whoever staged this thing, so bad.
So
and this
bad,
10-year-old girl,
dude.
bless her heart. I don't blame Princess Leia. It's like, get a little kid actor that could run if you knew this was going to be an important plot.
Yeah, it's
I
true.
also didn't like that she ran. I get that they're trying to show Princess Leia at a young age being
Like
defiant
rebellious,
and
yeah.
strong, but she's useless. Like she's running. She's like a non-coordinated toddler with
know.
marshmallow feet and marshmallow knobby knees, like waddling through the forest. And the two guys following her, they're like, and they're like hitting every single tree branch trying to catch her. It's so bad. Like it is so bad. One of my favorite things, like. Jordan, they have a scene where you've been waiting. It's episode 3, and you finally see Darth Vader appear, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, we're
You're
gonna
like,
see some
finally.
Hayden Christensen and Owen and Ewan McGregor, Hayden Christensen going together and like talking." Darth Vader pulls out his lightsaber, and he's standing there, and Obi-Wan looks at him. He has the hilt of his lightsaber, and then he runs to the right, and he runs behind a sand gravel pit.
And then he ignites his lightsaber.
And then he ignites his
And
lightsaber,
he's like,
so it's
"Look
like
at
less
me,
dramatic.
I'm right here."
And then Darth Vader puts his lightsaber away, and then approaches him out, and then they finally, what happened? And then he like pulls out his lightsaber, and they barely start. They don't even start fighting there,
Well,
and then he runs away a second
yeah,
time.
and what's so funny-
Obi-Wan runs away like a why?
It was the only time I wanted a monologue. They didn't say anything, and it was
Didn't say
awkward.
anything.
I was like, What is
The
happening?
fighting was so bad. I literally went to and found that fan. Have you guys seen that? There's like some fans that reshot the Star Wars scene between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader.
Old
That's
Ben?
more akin to
Old Ben?
Yeah, it's old Ben, but
yeah.
it's CGI. He puts a cloak on his head.
Yeah, it's
and
really
it's a fan-made
good.
production.
It's better than
and
all
he's like
this
flying
crap.
through the hallways, and it's so exciting. But they put Alec Guinness's face on this other stuntman, and they made the fight really exciting. They get Darth Vader in another outfit, and they shot all these extra scenes. I'm like, these folks on the internet, these guys that are just passionate about Star Wars, made a better production than Disney Plus, a fetching billion-dollar company, evil corporation.
I know.
They just don't give a rat about Star Wars, and it's apparent now, and it's hard to
sucks,
watch.
yeah.
Like, there's a scene where Princess Leia and Tala are running through this tunnel, and they get like halfway there, and they're like, okay, we're gonna get to the ship, and we're gonna escape. And Princess Leia, you go on without me. I'm gonna go back for Kenobi. Reba finds the entrance and starts walking into the tunnel. Tala then makes it past Reba, goes back out and
Where
finds
does that
Kenobi.
happen?
And then Reba somehow goes through the tunnel, passes Princess Leia, gets to the other side of the tunnels, waiting for her, kills the pilot, and says, I'm here to be your pilot. And she's like, wait, you are? And sees the dead pilot laying there, and she's like, no, and runs away. And I'm like, that's a plot hole. How the fudge did Reba get through Tala, through Princess Leia to the other side of the tunnel? It was the one secret passage. Like, they didn't even give, like, this show is glaring with plot holes. I'm not even that brilliant. You can fool me into forgetting a lot of plot holes. I'm a very forgiving person. This show is so bad. Like unbelievably bad. They had to emasculate Ben Kenobi into just being a useless man. Like, it's only been 10 years, mind you. He still looks younger than any of the other actors from the original, trilogy. He's still a young, handsome guy, Ewan McGregor. My goodness. And they're like, oh, he's old. He can't remember how to fight. He can't even use the Force unless it looks like he's really about to poop. Like, it's so sad. It's like they've emasculated Ben Kenobi. It's like what they did with Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. They just fetching hate your guts as a fan of Star Wars. They hate you. Disney hates you. Like, and they want you to not get any joy or merriment out of the things that you used to like about Star Wars. They're like, look at Princess Leia. She's a 10-year-old smart that knows it all. Listen to her. She's the future leader. The Force is female. It was so painful to watch. I had a visceral reaction to watching this thing.
I hope Red Letter Media just rips it apart, but I don't know if they'll talk about
but
it.
again, like, what else could they say about it? They're like, we're not excited about Star Wars. I naively thought this would be like an indie product because I was like, they want to save money on this. All they had to do was have Ben Kenobi and Hayden Christensen, all deformed, doing a Jedi Skype chat. That's it. That's all they needed. Skype chat, just going back and forth, talking. Like, I wanted that emotional thing. None of that. It's like, hey, here's this. This is the craziest thing. There is a scene where, Leia Organa's adopted parents that you meet. He's the one guy in Dexter, Jordan, that kills with Dexter and ends up loving it. He looks like Filipino.
Oh,
I don't know
yeah,
what his
he's
name
great.
is. Yeah, that actor. He's like Leia Organa's adopted parents. I'm not convinced that they love Leia. I'm not convinced that they even like her. They don't. They're like, okay, Ben Kenobi, you have to go save Leia. And he's like, well, I have to watch after Luke. And he goes, this isn't about Luke. Like, this is about Anakin. And it's like, wait a second. So he's concerned about watching over Luke, and he wants to train Luke in the ways of the Force, but you're saying that he has demons because of Hayden Christensen? Now, it's proven that he does have demons, but he's still willing to keep Qui-Gon Jinn's request and train Luke Skywalker. Even though he failed Anakin, he's like, I'm going to train this lineage like I promised to do. But this guy tries to guilt trip him into looking for his daughter when he's not even going to spend any resources or anyone to search for her. He's like, we can't let this get out.
There's too much
They
suspicion.
can't find out. And I'm like, why not? You're a senator. Your daughter's missing. Do people not know you have a daughter?
Yeah,
no, everyone knew he had a daughter. Yeah. She was outspoken. She speak at public meetings and public forums. So I'm like, okay, it's not like it's a secret. You're hiding this girl. Like, why the fudge can't you tell people to go find your daughter? I'm not convinced that he even wants her back. So like, she's freaking annoying. She climbs into trees and runs away from home. She runs away from home and gets kidnapped from these three aliens, which I think one of them is either the drummer from Red Hot Chili Peppers or he's the singer from Sting. I don't know which one it is. It's one of those. Anyway, it's like, it looks so out of place. These do not look like Star Wars characters. So she's running through the forest. She gets kidnapped by these people. And so you have this whole chase scene for nothing. She ends up getting kidnapped. Whatever. She has Weibo, her little pocket droid. It floats around and it says hi and everything. It gets smashed. Oh no, but Ben Kenobi fixes it so they can have this moment. What's insane is when Ben Kenobi finally goes to this planet, finds Leia, gets her back. She had this moment where he goes, I told your parents I have you and I'm going to return home. Okay, if you're making a story, maybe convince the audience that Leia's kidnapping means something. Show her her with Obi-Wan Kenobi talking to the parents. Have the mother in tears saying, oh my gosh, baby, I'm so glad you're okay. Have the father be like, oh, words can't describe, Kenobi. We're so glad you saved our daughter. They didn't do it because I was like, why would not have that scene? And then the second after, Leia's like, wait a second. How do I know the father really hired you? What if you're another kidnapper? He literally saved her from prison. So unless he's another kidnapper going to put her in another prison, she's like, how can I trust you? You're obviously hiding something from me. And she runs away from Ben Kenobi.
Yeah.
Runs away from him and gets into more trouble. An assassin droid with arms like this is shooting after him on top of a rooftop. There's a reptile head. There's like a crocodile head that looks like a velociraptor from Jurassic World, King's Dominion. What is it? Fallen Kingdom, King Dominion, whatever the Jurassic Park world is. I was so excited to see this reptile. He's shooting at them on the top of a rooftop. They're shooting back and forth, and then it just ends. They're no longer chasing them. And then Leia falls off the rooftop like an idiot. It's falling to her death. Kenobi finally uses his force with everything it's got and saves her from like smashing her head 10 stories below. Lays her down softly, gets down to her immediately. And I'm like, where did that assassin robot droid go? And then where did the T-Rex with the giant head go? They're gone. But then all of a sudden the robot does appear later, and then Kamal Ninjani.
No, my favorite part was he was on top of the building. He saved her from falling. She's like, hovering on the ground. And then literally 5 seconds later, he's on the ground going into the alleyway.
Yes,
I'm like,
he
how
runs
did he
to
get
her,
down?
and it's like, how did she get down? I guess he force jumped or something down. But again, he can't use the force powers because he's weak and he's sad and he's feeble Kenobi. Ben Kenobi, just a little nitpick here before I forget, he was also stealing chunks of meat for his stupid Utopia thing, or whatever you call it, Ethiopian. He had the stupid anteater alien that reminds me of the milk alien from the Green Milk on The Last Jedi. He had like this stupid anteater nose, and it looks like a camel, and he's stealing from his employer to give meat to his camel, and I'm like, that's still theft. Why is Kenobi being like, oh, but it's okay, he loves animals more than his dirty employer. There's this great scene where he like his employer is like giving out credits, and this one guy in front of Ben Kenobi's like, oh, that's like half the credits as it was yesterday, and he's like, yeah, wages are going up. And like, it's the same scene in every fetching Star Wars universe that you have like some guy extorting slave labor, and it's like, oh, this guy's bad. It's like, his life was pretty shizzy too. He's out in the fetching in the middle of the desert, and they're cutting up marbled meats. At the end of the day, all the employees just leave, and there's all this meat sitting out in the open desert. Like, are they not going to put that meat in preservatives or chop? It's insane. It makes no sense. Like, practically speaking, it's bad. But Ben Kenobi is always justified because he cares about animals more than he cares about evil, corrupt capitalists that extort their employees for wages, for slave wages, whatever. I don't care. Make your political statement. That's fine. It just doesn't make practical sense in this universe. It never does. It's crazy. There's this scene where after Kamal Ninjani, whatever his name is, from The Big Sick, you know what I'm talking about? He's a funny actor. I like him. He was good in The Big Sick. He was also in The Eternals, I think.
Silicon Valley, that guy?
Silicon Valley, yep. The Indian guy or whatever, Pakistani guy. He's hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
Kamal Ninjani or whatever. He's really funny. And he's like this fake Jedi, which I loved. This was a great character, completely wasted, completely thrown away. This is a guy that's pretending to be a Jedi. So he has like magnets in his wrist hand, and he like uses force tricks, and he like convinces women that he's like, I'm a Jedi, and I'm sensing, he like pretends to be a fortune teller, basically. And he goes, you can get out at this hangar bay, you'll be able to escape the First Order or the Empire, and you'll be able to escape with your family. Like, it's really clever. And like, they pay him money, and he's like a scumbag. And even McGregor comes in, and he's like, oh, like, you're not a real Jedi and everything. And then he's like, oh no, but he doesn't prove that he's a Jedi yet. But then like, all of a sudden he has like this change of heart. I guess he finds out that like everyone's searching for Ben Kenobi, and he's all like, oh, I can get the reward. And then the next scene, he actually shoots the other assassin droid, and you think like he's trying to get the reward. And maybe he still is, I don't know, but he's like, go to this place, get these coordinates, and they're gonna help you. And then they get there, and Reba shows up, and there's no reason for Ben Kenobi not to believe that Kamal Ninjani didn't set them up, because Reba shows up at the hangar with a lightsaber, and she's like, I can sense you, Ben Kenobi. Moses Ingram, actor of a generation. My goodness. I feel you, Ben Kenobi. Obi-Wan. She's literally, yeah, Obi-Wan. Like, it's not
so
menacing.
cringy,
It's so bad. It's so cringy. Then they have like this, I think, fight. It was so forgettable. I think they fight for a second. They get on the spaceship and they fly away. And then the Grand Inquisitor, this awesome, cool looking, weird guy that was really cool in the Stevie show, right, Grant? He was in the, you used to watch the, what was it called? The Clone Wars, right? I hear he's a big
he's in
character in the Clone
Rebels.
Wars.
He's in Rebels.
Oh, he's in Rebels.
That's
rather.
the other.
Yeah, he's like a really
animated
cool
one.
character in the Rebels. Rebel, listen. Moses Ingram just stabs him outright, and it's like, oh my gosh, she just killed the Grand Inquisitor. I'm like, so she's a hothead. I have no idea if she's gonna be held accountable for this. We don't know anyone's relationship to each other. It's weird. It's bonkers. So it's like, okay, like she just stabs him, and he's like, the Grand Inquisitor dies, and she's like, I'm gonna now be the Grand Inquisitor. Okay, you can just self-appoint yourself. Like as far as I knew, they called you third sister, and they said they raised you from the gutter, and because of your gifts, they were willing to tease you along as third sister. But it's like they still have the Grand Inquisitor, the right-hand man who's got hammerhead shark guy, Asian voice, and then there's the other women, and then there's her. And so she stabs the Grand Inquisitor. I'm like, and then she's fighting with Hammerhead Shark about who's going to be the next number 2. And then she goes to Darth Vader and is like, Darth Vader, I know the location of Ben Kenobi. Make me the Grand Inquisitor. And he's like, well, it depends on whether or not you kidnap Ben Kenobi or kill him or whatever it is. Not even clear what she's supposed to do. Just bring Kenobi to me, dead or alive, I guess. So anyway, it like makes no sense because she kills the Grand Inquisitor. So I'm like, her
And be
boss
careful not to
has now
choke
been
on your
killed. Like,
aspirations.
no consequences because she goes to Darth Vader and he's like, yeah, all's forgiven if you can get Ben Kenobi. Whatever. There's this amazing scene where they go to this desert planet and they're all like, okay, they all hop on this speeder bike. And again, Princess Leia's like, you think Kamal Ninjani betrayed us, but like, I think he's a good guy. We need to rely on friends. And Ben Kenobi's like, well, it could be a trap. He could be leading us into a trap. And she's like, well, he's probably a good guy. It's like, Reva showed up at that weapons hangar. Why would Ben Kenobi be convinced that Kamal Ninjani is not betraying them? And again, there's still opportunity for betrayal because they get on this speeder bike and this guy on the back of his little cruiser, it's like this giant alien who speaks with his mouth completely out of sync with what he's saying. Bad puppetry. I'm sorry. I know I was glad they used practical, but like, could use a little work, It sounded like Seth Rogen. Anyway, he's like, hop on my bus. And he's got the Galactic Empire symbol on the back of his truck. Ben Kenobi sees it, and he, like, has no reaction. He just gets in. I'm like, is he not all concerned? And so they're driving, and all of a sudden, they stop. He's like, where are you guys from? He's like, oh, we're from this place or whatever. And then 4 stormtroopers, they stop. 4 stormtroopers get on this bus with them. So there's, like, Ben Kenobi, Princess Leia, and 4 stormtroopers sitting around him like, oh, this is going to be a cool scene. And he's like, all right. I thought he was going to be like, I am not the person you're looking for. Mind tricks, right? This would be great for Ben Kenobi. That's his wheelhouse. No, none of that. They just sit there, and he's like, oh, where are you from again, traveler? He's like, oh, it's a long story. And he goes, it's a long ride. And you're like, oh no, he's going to have to come up with a story. And then Princess Leia, like, gets him out because she's so smart. Ben Kenobi's an a-hole. He can't think of a lie to save his life. So Princess Leia has to come in and save Ben Kenobi in this moment. And she's like, oh, we're this, we're that. And this is my father. And you're like, oh, thank goodness. Princess Leia, so smart, chronic liar. Really great things to teach our kids. Anyway, so like 5 minutes later, they're like, oh, this is our stop. And I'm like, you just said it was like a long journey. They literally get out 10 minutes later. The 4 guys get out. They go to this stop, and there's this gate. There's a lightsaber gate with 3 bars and like valley on either side, but it's like a hill. Like you can literally walk around this gate, and then like they make it like in a point that they have to like get over this gate. I'm like, walk around it. It's insane. It's insane. Anyway, the very end, the last thing I'm going to say about, because I'm rambling way too long about this, it is so bad. You guys have to watch it because it is so poorly done. I was like, who in their right mind is giving money to these people? Like what? Like I saw an article that said like, what the fudge are we doing here? Like the 4th episode of the Ben Kenobi just dropped, and it said like WTF. What are we doing here? So anyway, absolutely insane.
The other movies I've watched is Bubble Boy with
Bubble Boy.
No,
Jake Gyllenhaal did that movie.
$500?
Dude.
Yeah, and then Free Solo. I watched that with Elise. She loved it. It's a great documentary.
Free Solo.
Check
Oh
it
my
out.
gosh, Free Solo, dude.
And then, well, This Is the End. I watched that with you. Really good.
You watched it with
then-
Ty. I wasn't there.
Oh, that's right. And then,
Did you
Top
see
Gun.
The Boys yet?
No, I told you I'm waiting till it all comes out. I don't want to.
No! Watch it right
And then-
now. And you're watching this garbage that you're talking about with Ty? Ugh.
Well, no, we watched 3 episodes because I was like, there's got to be something good with Darth Vader. And then after that, I was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm not watching any more of that.
Yeah, watch the
So-
freaking Boys.
Well, I need to watch. So I've watched 2 episodes of Stranger Things, and it's pretty good so far. I've just heard that the episode 6 or 7 or whatever is insane. So I still need to finish that. And then I've been continuing to watch Better Call Saul. Such a good show.
Oh my gosh, Better Call Saul's amazing.
It is. I love the descent of just like his character. Like he tries so hard to be good, and just everything just keeps going against him. He's just like,
Yes, I mean,
okay,
and
fine,
his
I'll,
brother,
like, do this.
is he not like, I think he's Satan.
For real, dude. Just like he's the reason that he like didn't progress in law and everything. Like didn't get hired by HM. And so like yeah, dude, I hate his brother so much. And like he's hiding behind the fact
if you
of,
thought
like,
he couldn't
I'm
get
trying to
worse,
protect
he
you.
does.
Really? Ah! Dang, dude. Yeah. But it's such good writing. Like for how slow the show is, it's so engaging. Like I love the characters.
I cannot wait to see what they do next. I mean, El Camino. Have you seen that yet?
I haven't. That's on my watch list though.
Yes, you need to watch it. And then, yeah, so once you finish Better Call Saul, check that out. And Breaking Bad. I mean, I'm rewatching Breaking Bad. These are some of the best writers I've ever seen in my life.
Dude. They're so good. It's just amazing that like this kind of like mundane setting, I guess, of like a high school teacher and just the small town in New Mexico, like they just made this whole universe about this, like, and it's so like interesting and engaging. I just love it.
So anything you're looking forward to besides The Boys? And did you watch Stranger Things like they did?
Well, I watched 2 episodes. I still need to watch the rest of the half season.
I watched 1 episode and I'm like, I'm done.
Well, if anything, just wait till it all comes out and then maybe you can watch it. But one thing I have been looking forward to is I want to watch King Richard, the one with Will Smith about the tennis players.
Oh.
So looking forward to that. Besides that, yeah, nothing really much besides like The Boys and stuff.
So I rewatched The Truman Show and Event Horizon because they're
Nice.
my favorite. And I love them so much. And I just rewatched them so many times. And then we watched The Lost City, Grant and I, and it was the worst
Oh, that's
movie I've
right.
ever seen.
Yeah.
I don't even want to go on a rant. I just didn't like it. I don't want anybody to watch it. Don't see it.
Yeah.
It's dumb. It's the
It's
worst.
just so bland. Like,
Yeah, it was.
Not
I mean,
great.
and poor Sandra Bullock and her face was so distracting. She showed no emotion because of her plastic surgery, and I feel so bad because she's a sweet woman. But none of the jokes landed. I was like, it was painful. Like that ending was one of the most cringy. Like I laughed. I burst out laughing because of how bad it was.
yeah. Well, I felt bad too because you kept looking over at us to see our reactions, and I was just literally sitting there like blank faced. I was just like so bored in the movie, dude.
I know.
It
I was
sad.
just like waiting for it to be over. I was like, please, just.
Yeah.
And after 20 minutes, I'm like, oh, you guys having fun? I'm like, we should have watched something else. Dang it.
That's okay. You win
And,
some, you lose some.
Yeah. That's all I want to say about that movie. It's garbage.
Yeah.
I mean, the writing was some of the worst writing. I just, and especially because I've been doing a lot of research on S. Craig Zoller, who is an amazing script writer. And I've been reading like why he's been out of Hollywood. And I went down this rabbit hole on Reddit, and people just like they do so much research. Man, these guys are nerds. And apparently like he has been associated with a guy in Hollywood that is a conservative that he can't get funding from. And it's not because he's a conservative, but because he has worked with a conservative. And so it's just like, it's insane. Like, and I even read the guy said, yeah, if he continues to work with him, I won't even see his movies. I'm like, because I just, whatever. Like, people are
makes zero
so
sense, dude.
irrational, insane.
For real.
I just, it hurts me. Anyways, but some of the scripts he had written, he had sold to like Park Chan-wook, who I've seen 6 of his films. He did like Old Boy, and hopefully eventually, Grant, you'll be able to see some of his stuff. He makes these amazing films, but because it's a different country and language, he's having a bit hard time like translating some of the humor over. And so he's like trying to change stuff, and I don't know.
Because there's so much humor that's like cultural and contextual based on where you live, you know?
Yeah. And so his script is kind of getting muddied, and I don't know if Zoller's too happy about that.
Gotcha.
And the problem is, like, he sold a ton of scripts back in the day. Like, Michael Mann, one of my favorite directors. Have you seen Heat? I think we started that. But
I think I've seen part of it.
or Collateral. Anyways, he's made these amazing movies, and he was supposed to direct one of S. Craig Zoller's movies, but then like nobody was willing to fund it because it's not a superhero movie, and it's just like so stupid. It's like the movies he wants to make, he needs a lot of money, and he's not willing to play the game. You know, like, what's the guy's name? He did Aladdin and Wrath of Man and The Gentleman. So Guy Ritchie, he plays the game. He does like one big Hollywood movie like Aladdin for Disney, and then he goes off and makes The Gentleman or The Wrath of Man movies he wants to make. But he's willing to play the game. Like, there's, one for the studio, one for me, one for the studio.
Right, yeah.
And that's why S. Craig Zoller has not been making movies lately. And because nobody's willing to fund him, it's so stupid. And Netflix was going to fund one of his movies, but, 2 things happened. They said they didn't think that his movie idea would get enough attention. And also because, Netflix is kind of like tanking right now because they're losing a ton of subscribers because of Disney Plus and all these other. There's so many subscriptions now. Like the only reason I would get on Netflix is if like there's a specific show. Like right now they just announced. So there was like this huge YouTube video that blew up. Grant, a kid. I just sent you that link to the kid that like did a live action like real life Squid Games. What did you say his name was?
Mr. Beast. He's like
he did a video.
Number one YouTuber right now.
And it got so much. I think it's like 350,000 or something. 350 million like views. And that's just in a week. And because of that, like Netflix a week just announced that they're gonna do a reality show like Squid Game because they realized how cheap, because how small of a budget he had.
God.
Like, I mean, he still had a lot of money, but because it was so much smaller in comparison to how much the real show has, like millions or whatever, they're like, oh, we can do this reality TV show thing. So they've just announced it today. So a week later, they're like, we're going to do this. We're putting it to production. So while we wait for the second season, they're going to do this like reality show, which I'm fine with, because as long as it's like, I love The Beastmaster on Netflix, which is Sylvester Stallone doing his like American Ninja Warrior thing. I watched all those episodes. I was kind of upset that they didn't do any more seasons because I would love to, like, it's just fun to see people compete and get crazy for money.
Right.
And I would like it actually better if Netflix picked this up, because hopefully they'll only do one winner. Like the problem with this YouTube video is like, he was just throwing money at people. And I was like, these kids weren't as bloodthirsty and money crazed as, you know, because they were like, oh, that's okay if I quit. I just get another like $4,000. He's like, you get $10,000 for quitting, and it's like, what? I want to participate.
Right. Yeah, that's funny.
But that's all I got.
Nice. Anything you're looking forward to?
Finishing The Boys every week is the most amazing thing ever, because Homelander is the greatest superhero of all time. He is pure evil, and I get he's a bad guy, but I love him so much. Like every time he's on screen, I'm like, yes. And I won't spoil anything, but I'm excited to talk about it once you freaking watch it, because it's amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, everybody. Peace.
See ya.
Thanks for tuning in. This has been Future Hidden Movie Gems. Leave us a 5-star review. Check us out on Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, on YouTube, and Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And check us out on our Patreon. And please subscribe, like, and share. And this has been Future Hidden Movie Gems. Leave us an email, futuromovies@gmail.com, and let us know a movie you'd like us to review, or leave a comment under our YouTube videos, and we'll review a movie that you'd like us to review. All right, guys. Am I wrong? Was Ben Kenobi actually really good? I don't know. You tell me. All right, guys. This has been Future Hidden Movie Gems signing out. Peace. Midnight train going anywhere.